Hello, welcome to Skull RPG Podcast. My name's Dwight Skull.
My name's Jacob Skull.
And today we're going to teach you how to tell your story.
So, Dwight, one of the things that we should talk about is guard duties. And is you have a better way to do guard duties that isn't this thing that's a classic trope of who's on guard duty so the GM can throw a random monster at you because you guys are resting to try to get you guys off guard.
Right, which is tedious. And eventually, of course, it has its purposes because eventually you'll spend some magic, like a rope trick or something, or some other things too. You'll spend cash to never do that again.
Mm-hmm.
So it has uses, but then it becomes useless quickly. So let's talk about another way of doing guard duty. So guard duty could just be the transportation of a person, most likely a person actually, to a different location. So you can think of this as there's a scientist who has a cure for some sort of disease. Maybe it's disease turning people into zombies or mindless killers or things like that. And you need to take them from the city that's doomed to the only last bastion of hope that humanity has, which is, of course, on the other side of the country. Because where else would it be, right? Or scientists have developed this new technology, and the new technology is so impressive that the countries are trying to kill him for it. And your country has basically purchased it, but now you need to get this scientist out of that location and into a safe house that is in your country's part of the world. And of course, you're nowhere near there. Or maybe this little girl is prophesied to end the world because she is now has this new type of magic, like this totally different way that magic works.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's the negation of magic. And so, you feel sorry for the girl, so you're trying to keep her alive from all these people that are trying to kill her to save the world. And then, of course, at the end of that, you'd have a twist where she does kill the world, because that's just, anyway, that's what I would do. Or you could have a baby that will be like the chosen one day, or is incredibly important. And obviously that trope is used in The Mandalorian. I'm not going to go too much in The Mandalorian, but you have a fighter who's now saddled with a child who, again, is a child, right? I mean, the child's not fighting at the level that he's fighting at. The child is occasionally helpful, but for the most part is not helpful. So the child is a detriment to the Mandalorian being able to open up fully and kill a bunch of people if he needed to.
First couple of episodes of Avatar The Last Airbender are that way too, where Aang doesn't have his powers under wraps, so he's more unpredictable than not.
Right, he's more of a liability than he is a help. And to be fair, let's just be honest with the Avatar, Aang is almost never uses his power until he gets like spirit overridden.
Yes.
And then he's definitely a liability because he's ending the localized world. So regardless, you could see how a guard duty situation could last. Your entire campaign actually could be guarding in one way, shape, or form or another. But what I would rather do, let's just talk about gaming, like a guard is just a one-time thing, okay? So what I would do is I'd create an obstacle and a check. Again, you'll see that if you ever listen to any of the other episodes, I like to create a lot of charts. So I create an obstacle chart. So let's just have an obstacle chart. And we could just use an example. Well, we'll just create one. So let's just say the story is you're trying to get a scientist through enemy territory because they have a cure. And what they're trying to get through is a horde of zombies, because the zombie plague, it's actually a plague, and it's communicable, and people that get bit on or saliva transfer from a zombie to a human eventually turn into another zombie. And so this scientist has figured out a cure for it, but the problem was his entire area was overrun before they could evacuate. So your team has been sent in to bring him to there. So let's just talk about one little, all you need to do is get him from the place where he's at, he's holed up, into a truck. That's it. That's the whole game. So that one night. And so basically what you have is you would have them, I would do an obstacle of how many zombies are in the building that he's in. So maybe he's holed up in the basement. So you guys got to kill a bunch of zombies on one side, break into the building. So that involves chain link and other sorts of things. They cut through that. They got to break open a door, which is locked. They break open the door. They got to kill a bunch of zombies in the hallway. They got to go down. There are traps set by humans that have all died, but those traps are still there. So they got to disarm or get past the traps that the humans designed. Find that where the doctor is, because they don't know exactly where he is. He's on the top floor, he's on the bottom floor. So they're sweeping floors, trying to find out where this doctor is located. Then they got to convince the doctor that they're human and they're there to help him. And so they eventually have to figure that out. Then they got to guard him, who's worthless in a fight, up a set of back stairs against a zombie horde, which decided at that moment they're going to slam everything they can against this place.
Who knows? You maybe made a lot of noise, and that's what they're attracted to.
You made a lot of noise. I'm sure you did, actually. And so you then have to fight your way all the way through it. You got to make sure he doesn't get killed, right? Otherwise, there's huge consequences for the entire game. And then eventually you guys get into a truck, and that's where you end it for the night. Now, the next game could be them driving the truck to another safety spot, and that could be all that they do, right? Then your game curtails off, you don't care about the scientists anymore, or your game is all about protecting the scientist. So, you could be playing the Mandalorian where you're all about protecting the child, or you're playing a game where it's like, we did our little milk run duty, we got our guy to where he or she's supposed to be, and now we're done with that. We're going to go do something different, like maybe we're involved in a battle. Now, for an RPG game, if you want to know how that works, it's pretty much the same thing. You just change out the monsters or you change out the faction, right? So you go see our faction episode. Again, you could have a faction who's taking somebody hostage that's really required for your side for some reason, right? They have knowledge. They have access to magic. They know where a secret artifact is. There's 1,000 reasons of why somebody could be kidnapped.
Mm-hmm.
And then your guys have to you just come up with an obstacle chart. Do they got to break in and get the guy out, which is like a rescue, and then they got to take him someplace, which is the guard duty section. See, what I really want you to see, if you've been listening to these other episodes, is a lot of these like things that we've been going through with factions or chasing or breaking and entering or spies or MacGuffins or kidnapping, rescue, or guard duties right now or in the future, when we talk about other things, they can all literally be woven into a tapestry that doesn't just look like your D&D games being roll the dice, here's a random monster, kill it, here's a random monster, kill it, a little bit of flavor text, kill the monster.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm really showing you, hopefully showing you, is you can build a greater story like you've seen in books and movies and start weaving all of these things in the last couple of episodes, as well as the episodes we're going to cover here shortly, into this rich tapestry of a gaming experience that you will enjoy telling and your players will enjoy doing.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for listening.
And for more resources, please go to skullrpg.com.